Brian, do you have an offer on the table from the Jets? Is that?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the details of that. We've had a lot of discussions. I've known Joe for a long time, and they've been really good discussions, really cordial, and we'll continue to have those conversations, and hopefully we can come to agreement sooner than later.
Will you have talked to Joe here at all about that specifically?
Yeah, I already talked to him. Whether we have a sit-down formal or anything like that, but we've been talking on the phone for a couple weeks now.
Is there any scenario that you'd be comfortable making a trade without getting a first-round pick back?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's not a necessity, but at the same time, the value of the player is he's a premier player. So I think getting premier picks back for that or players is important.
Do you have to have picks this year, or would you be willing to wait till future drafts?
I think the sooner the better. I think certainly if we get beyond the draft and everything changes, compensation changes, and so that would be a whole different scenario. But hopefully we can get this done soon.
You said he's a premier player after the season. Rob asked you who gave you a better chance to win in 2023. Mm-hmm. You said Aaron unequivocally. Why trade him then?
Well, I think obviously where our team is at, where we're moving forward, and quite frankly his desires. So I think as we move forward, we're excited about what Jordan can do for us, and what our team will come together around that. But it's complex. It's hard. It's complicated. But at the same time, I think once we got down to the road and knew what Aaron wanted, we've been trying to facilitate that.
So Brian, you obviously have a job to do. What happens if this carries into the summer and you're not satisfied with what they're willing to give up? How late are you willing to go with this?
I think hopefully we'll get this done before that, but I mean, as long as it takes.
Brian, has communication been pretty consistent with you guys, or is there ever been a point where talks have stalled?
No, I mean, it's been pretty consistent. Mm-hmm.
So both you and the Jets have reasons where you can theoretically wait, but there are risks that go with it too. If he gets hurt, you're stuck with the contract. Mm-hmm. He could end up changing his mind. The Jets want him, I would think, sooner rather than later for off-season stuff. I mean, when does all that stuff come together? Can you really afford to wait until May or June? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's not much going on right now, and so again, I think it has to work for both parties, and I think we're both committed to figuring that out. But it's really kind of in their court right now, so we'll kind of see where it goes.
Right. Do you want that 13th pick this year?
I want all the picks. I want all of them. You know what I mean? As many as we can get. That's not a necessity, but like I said, I think fair value for the players is important. There's risk to all this, as you guys know, but again, I'm hopeful and confident that we'll be able to reach a conclusion at some point.
Both you and Joe Douglas have said today there's no hard timeline on getting this trade done. Is there any scenario in your mind that Aaron Rodgers starts another game in Green Bay?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now all options are on the table. It's not trending that way, I think, and we're very hopeful that we can facilitate this and get this accomplished. But he's come back under certain circumstances before where he maybe wasn't the happiest with everything that was going on and played very well. So, we'll just kind of see how all this transpires, and I think it's trending hopefully in the right direction for what everybody wants, and conclude this hopefully. So.
If it trends the other way, is it an open competition at quarterback? Or
we're a long ways away from that, but we'll figure those things out as they come. But right now, I think we're just focused on facilitating a trade that the player and the Jets and what we want. I think that would be best for everybody. And we'll see how that goes.
Brian, after everything you and Aaron did to, I don't want to say repair the relationship, but the last 2 years, after he, said everything he did a couple of years ago, and he comes out a couple weeks ago and says you basically went behind his back to shop him, and he didn't seem too pleased. From your perspective, how did the last couple months kind of transpire?
Yeah, I didn't really take his comments like that, and it's certainly not true. I mean, I think, as we got out of the off season or after the season, and we had a good conversation, and then we're going to have some follow-up conversations. And our inability to reach him or for him to respond in any way, I think at that point, then we just kind of I had to do my job and kind of reach out and understanding that a trade could be possible and see who was interested. But that shopping was never really part of that.
There's not a lot
of. So when you gave him that contract extension, you've said publicly your intention was for him to not just play last season, to play beyond that. At what point did it shift to, okay, we need to move on?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously it was a disappointing season, right? And you come out of the season, you have a lot of conversations, not only with Aaron, but with the rest of the team, coaches, and everybody. And as you go through that process, you kind of get an idea of where you're going to move to, as a team, how you're going to go forward. And I think I was really looking forward to the conversations with Aaron to see how he fit into that. Those never transpired. So there came a time where we had to make some decisions. So we went through his representatives to try to kind of talk to him where we were going with our team. And at that point, they informed us they would like to be traded to the Jets.
Why did
You
those,
just said you did try and reach out to have those conversations.
Oh, yeah, many times.
why did those conversations not transpire?
I'm not going to really, not putting it on anybody, but they just never did transpire. A lot of attempts and went through that. But at the same time, again, we're always looking out for what's best for the Green Bay Packers. And as time went on, we kind of had to move.
Are you disappointed that Aaron hasn't been more accessible this offseason?
I mean, you'd love to have those conversations, right, about where our team's going and how he might fit into that. We were unable to have those, so it is what it is. But at the same time, I do feel, Aaron's been a great player for us, and he means a lot to the organization. There's a lot of gratitude there. But those conversations would have been nice.
Brian, have you had any direct conversations with Aaron at any point, and how much that he said on Pat McAfee was news to you?
We talked after the season. And we're going to continue the conversations, and then that never happened. But I don't really get into the whole media thing and what he does on Pat McAfee and those comments and things. But it would have been nice to have those conversations.